Welcome back once again to the Lone Star Meeple podcast, a special remote edition. With me, as always, is the Red Meeple, Alex.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And the Green Meeple, Michael.
Hey guys, how's it hanging?
We are the Lone Star Meeple podcast.
Well, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about some games that we've been playing while stuck in quarantine.
Quarantine.
We're going to discuss how we like to upgrade the games that we have.
Yeah, we're upgrading our podcast right now. We're through the joys of technology.
Yeah, we're using web-based browsing so we can talk to each other while we're stuck in our own homes.
Yeah, it's been a good times. It's been good times. We had our first little soiree into trying to play games remotely. That was interesting.
Yeah, I was able to get some cameras set up onto some games. I invited some friends and family through the power of Zoom that we're using while teaching as well, and we were able to play Codenames. Played a couple games of Codenames, and then played just one.
Yeah, I bet you Zoom stock has flown through the roof.
Oh my gosh, Zoom is definitely
they're making all the monies right now.
Oh, it's funny. Like there was like an ongoing like joke that it's like I swear this had to have been created by like
Charmin
Zoom
and
Zoom. Charmin and Zoom. Yeah, it's like the memes flying around about like the stock market is tanking. Except I'm gonna buy stock in WebEx because they seem to be doing fantastic. Yeah, so it was interesting. We did Gloomhaven too. We tried playing Gloomhaven. Well, we succeeded in playing Gloomhaven actually.
We played Gloomhaven last night.
I don't know. I still feel like Sean was cheating a little bit there.
He's like, I have this card that lets me just kill everybody. You don't need to see it.
Yeah. I killed 3 people and then like hung by myself and then ran over to the end. That's what I did.
Yeah. Still, cards just magically came out whenever he needed them.
Not when I needed them. I showed you. I was showing you, and you're like, don't show us the cards. All right, I won't show you the cards.
Yeah, we were able to get one camera on the game, and then we did a Zoom with each other so we could see each other. That was interesting, but we were able to deliver the cards to you, so you had your set of cards with you. And
There was a Kickstarter that actually had some sort of special device, right? Where you
is, and you could, I forget the name of it, but they had a box that you could put the cards on, and it would digitally send you the cards.
Yeah,
and I remember because I looked at backing it, but I never actually did.
Nah, I bet you now you did with the whole quarantining going on.
I don't even know if it's been delivered yet.
I just remember that it was specifically made so that people can play games from far away.
It was a Kickstarter that was designed to do what we did with Gloomhaven, but where one person could have the game and then everyone else could use the digital versions of it. Like you draw a card, so I just put a card on the box, and you get it on your screen, so you have that in your deck in your hand.
Yeah, and then
we don't actually get to see it.
And then, just as a personal side note, people out there in podcast land that use Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, how is that? Which one do you prefer? Because we saw a video about it the other day, and it seems interesting, but I've never used either one of those. So hit us up at Twitter or Facebook. Which one do you like better, Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia?
I've actually used. Was it Tabletopia? There was one. I think it was Tabletopia to play. I was playing Netrunner on Tabletopia for a while when I was living in Charlotte. It was interesting. I know I've looked at Tabletop Simulator like on Steam. I haven't actually messed with it because the games that I want to play are games that we already have, and I don't feel like spending $15 to get the digital version of a game we already have.
Yeah,
well, that's why Tabletopia seems better because it's like subscription and you get 800 games. So
yeah, because Tabletopia, what we're just figuring out that they have like the licensed version of the games.
By the actual developers, so at least you're supporting the developers by doing that.
And then Tabletop Simulator is more like an emulator for like an old NES game where I can just like upload my own version of it. So the video we watched, they loaded up Blood Rage, and there was like 8 different versions of Blood Rage. So you had to find the one that you liked the best.
Yeah. And then get your friends to download the same one. So
8 different versions of Blood Rage?
Yeah, because you can make your own game. So, anyways, so in quarantine, what have you all been doing while you're in quarantine? What's keeping you from going insane?
I haven't played a lot of games, I gotta tell you. Like, I haven't, like, Yeah, you two lucky. You room with each other, like so. You kind of lucked out. Like I'm still like trying to. I've been working full time, like remotely, and then also trying to do the whole homeschooling thing with my daughter, and then getting dinner together. It's because my fiance is essential, so she's at work all day. So I'm trying to like homeschool and work full time and get some house stuff together. It's been hectic, so I haven't really
I
played
bet
a
you
lot of
appreciate teachers
games.
a lot more now, huh?
I've always appreciated teachers. I always thought that teachers just
Have
do
you?
not get paid. Yeah, well, except for you. But no, I've always said that
um,
like teachers definitely kind of get like a raw deal. But yeah, I mean, I think the last thing I played like in person with somebody was when we played Coimbra. We were kind of like it was still in the beginning. We're like, forget Corona, we're all fine, and we played Coimbra. I think that was the last time I played an in-person game with
well,
somebody.
I know you're having fun writing Corona songs,
I am writing a lot of
which
Corona songs. They're
which
very
for all our fans, you should put them on our webpage so that we can share with the class how talented
I
of a
yes,
songwriter you are.
I will put them up. Well, I'll leave a couple out. Some of them were not very family friendly, so I'll leave those out. Actually, what's funny is my fiance's employer just asked me to record one for their website. So I was like, okay. So like I actually came up with one. Like I don't know how I come up with this like as quick as I do, but I wound up coming up with one. Like once she mentioned it, she's gonna take some video, and I rewrote a version for to the tune of "Just Can't Wait to Be King" from The Lion King.
Just can't wait.
Yeah, so they're gonna put that on their website. But that's how I've been occupying my time is just recording ridiculous like COVID-19 and quarantine songs to like other popular songs and playing Resident Evil 3.
I'm playing Resident Evil, playing video games
Lots of
since
video
you're on your
games.
own.
Pretty much,
I
yeah.
know
Playing lots of video
we've
games.
been going back and revisiting some games that we enjoy that haven't hit the table in a while. We played Blood Rage the other day after about a month of having the extra Kickstarter bits and the extra monsters and the extra and the playmat and the
It's been sitting on the shelf mocking us.
yeah. So we finally got that on the table. We played Too Many Bones. We actually did a whole campaign in like 2 days, which is amazing for us. And what else have we played?
I did get Aftershock after I heard about it on a different podcast, and
How
we
was
played
that? I
that
was on
several
the
times
fence.
after.
I was kind of on the fence with that one, to be honest with you. Like it seemed interesting,
We've played
but it
it.
seemed like
We played it twice, 3 players. It's a new one by Alan Moon. He's the guy who did Ticket to Ride, and Stronghold put it out. But it's pretty simple based. You're going only a few things you can do on your turn. There's a little draft towards the beginning, but there's a little area control where you can make aftershocks happen on certain islands. And because we played 3 players, we played on the Venice side. If you get 4 to 5 players, you can play on the San Francisco side. So we played Venice, so it's all a bunch of little islands connected by bridges. You were building bridges, and then as aftershocks happen, I'm going to make an aftershock happen on this island, and I'm going to make all the blue meeples run away. And now I control the island since the blue meeples ran away.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I honestly enjoy it a lot. Light area control, not very. Some take that, but not very devastating. When it comes to the take that, I give it my personal thumbs up. Um,
I
so
think it was the scoring that threw me off. Like it was like you have to like vote for how things are going to score or something like that. Like and like at
yes,
least two
so you
people.
have to you have a map of all the island,
And you have like 3 score markers, 3 or 4,
something like
no, 5, like 5 score markers, and there's several different territories, and you're like, I want these to score, but in order for them to actually score, 2 people have to want to do it, but you can't put 2 of your own on the same one, so 2 different players have to want them to score, and it's all secret. So you're hidden behind your screen saying, I want number 1 and number 5 and number 6 to score, and you can talk to each other and say, like, Alex, you have 2 guys in number 6, and you're going to get more points than I am here, but I'm going to get more points on you on number 1.
or I'll
So
vote for number
you vote
four
for
if you
number
vote.
1, I'll vote for number 6, and we get 2 and 2. And then you're like, secretly, I'm not going to do that.
Because you're a bastard.
Whoa, language.
Because you're a bad person.
That works. Okay.
All right, cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend Aftershock. We also finally got around to learning how to play StarCraft. So it was one of my Grail games that I got a while ago. Finally got it to the table. We just played a quick 2-player game of it,
Mhm.
but it seemed like a lot of fun. It seemed to be a lot of back and forth fighting, intense battles in
It
multiplayer.
reminded me a lot of like Twilight Imperium and also Eclipse, playing that game and wanted me to play Eclipse again. I do enjoy Eclipse, and we just don't want no copy of it.
Right. It shares a lot of the same mechanics as Forbidden Stars. So if you've played Forbidden Stars, I know you haven't, but Sean, you played it. So it
Yeah.
has a lot of the same mechanics where you place your order tokens and you have to do them in order from top to bottom. So the same way that Star Wars Rebellion shares its pedigree with Twilight Imperium,
Mhm.
they share their pedigree. Like you can see that they designed StarCraft and then they went and designed Forbidden Stars or vice versa. I don't actually know the order of those two. We
Hmm.
also played a learning game of Starcadia Quest based on Eric Lang's
Arcadia Quest.
Arcadia
Yeah,
Quest.
you got it. We were talking about it on the other day when we were recording that you came in the mail, came in later that afternoon, and it was like 14 boxes.
14, 15 boxes of plastic goodness, which I
Yeah.
have
The
to say,
The CMON special, as I like to say.
yeah, Simon Special, which I thought was a lot of fun personally,
It
and
was.
it's a faster, lighter version of a fast light game. So if you like Arcadia Quest, but setup is too difficult or it takes too long, Arcadia Quest would be right up your alley. I enjoy that type of game.
How much different is it than like Arcadia Quest? I mean, besides like that aspect, like but
It does have
gameplay
its
wise.
differences. Like the setup is random. So Starcadia Quest has specific map tiles that you put out. This one you just kind of shuffle them and it says grab 4 random map tiles and put them out. Put the stuff on the map tiles. The Starcadia Quest has the PvP goals, but only one person can accomplish it. So in Arcadia Quest, there was the PvE goals and the PvP goals.
What player
PV
versus everyone?
Yeah, well, no, player versus environment, which is like
Oh,
the game, player versus the game, and then player versus player goals.
okay.
So in Arcadia Quest, one of the goals is to kill the red player, for example. But in Arcadia Quest, everyone can kill the red player and accomplish that goal.
Mm-hmm.
In Starcadia Quest, only the first person to kill the red player grabs the card, so the goals are accomplished a lot faster.
So it becomes more of a race than.
Yeah, it's more of a race. It's more frantic, I guess. So I enjoy it, but you still get that roll lots of dice, going for the crits, rolling more and more and more and more and more dice for every boom you get. So that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, so when you roll the crit, it's the 6th side of the die, but it
Yeah.
has a little target,
Boom.
looks like a explosion looking thing. And when you roll that one, you actually get to roll another die and try to hit again. So even though the 6 is a hit, I might roll another hit so I can hit you twice. And if that one is a 6 or the hit, I can just keep pick it more and more dice, and that's just so much fun just to keep throwing more and more dice out there.
Mm-hmm. And just to kill each other, run around and kill each other. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
You said you were playing Resident Evil 3?
Yeah, that one's a video game. Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who don't know, I know Alex knows this because I'm making him play the Resident Evil 2 board game with me. But I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil series. That's like one of the game series that like I just grew up playing. Like that came out like in like the I think 93 or 94, and just has been a huge thing. Like I've loved that series. So they have been recently remaking some of them. They did a remake of the original one a while back, like a whole new reimagining remake of the game. They did one of Resident Evil 2 last year, and they just came out with the Resident Evil 3 remake game. So I've been playing through that because I've been stuck in the house. But that does kind of lead me into like what I said, like how I've been making Alex play the Resident Evil 2 board game with me. It's pretty much a dungeon crawl. I mean, I would say it doesn't necessarily break the mold or do anything like super special. I mean, it's one of those games where if you're invested in the theme like I am, or like the source content, you're gonna absolutely love it. Alex is more like, all right, fine, let's play it. Yes, to him, it's just a dungeon crawl. To me, it's like, no, you're Leon. You don't understand. You have to get to the STARS office in order. So for me, it's a whole thing, and you go through the campaign of the game. But they actually did just announce that I think it's Steamforge Games that makes that one, and they announced that they're going to be coming out. I guess in since they just redid the video game, they're going to be coming out with a Resident Evil 3, the board game. Which to my excitement, I was like, great,
Nice.
that'll be another all-in pledge for
But
me. And then
that's on you. It's
I-
your
I-
turn.
I'm
It's
go-
your turn to play Resident Evil 3.
All right, I'm so excited.
they're not bad games. Like they're just they're dungeon crawls. I don't think they do anything that like different than any other dungeon crawl, and there's probably better dungeon crawls out there, to be honest with you. But like I said, if you like the source content, if you like the the material that it's based off of, you are gonna absolutely love this game. It has like all minis for all the characters and different models for all the characters. Some of like the classic staples, like from part two, like the giant alligator and things
The
like that.
map
That
in
have this.
itself is really lame and standard, so I hope they do a better job at that. I will say that.
Mhm.
All the tiles
Yeah, I
are exactly the same, just different shapes. There's no ambiance to the game. The combat system is very plain. I mean, it needs. There's a lot of room for improvement in it.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. I definitely agree that, especially with the map. When I got it, that was my biggest gripe is the artwork on the map tiles. There's not a lot of variety into it, so it kind of takes you out of the theme of the game a little bit
Yeah,
because you're
the
like, okay, well,
sewers, the
we need to
roof,
escape.
and the
Hmm.
office all look exactly the same.
Yeah, and the
Do
art
you,
is really really dark. So
do you
like
know when
it's
it
like
is coming out on Kickstarter?
they just announced it. I don't think they have an official launch date yet. Uh, but yeah, hopefully in Steamforge, hopefully if you're listening to this, definitely improve the artwork of the tiles because even like the artwork on the tiles, like I said, like Alex said, it's a lot of it's the same. So and they're a thing in the book. They say, oh, just use any tiles because just as
They're all
long
the
as the
same.
shapes are the same. But
Oh, that
yeah, but for
sucks.
me, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, but if I'm going to be escaping the police station, I want to use tiles that are for the police station. But and the artwork, like I said, is like so dark you can't even make out what it is. It just looks like it just
A
you
dark
could barely
square
even
and a
see what the
dark
art is.
rectangle, and
Pretty much, yeah. So it's that was definitely
so a lot of
a
graphic
huge
design and art
improvement.
needs to be a good improvement for that game. It sounds like.
Yes, yeah. The combat in it, it's yeah. I would kind of say they could definitely make some improvements there. It's a lot of just action reaction stuff. Like you get certain number of actions on your turn, and the action
Hmm.
could be attack, and then things get attacks of opportunity. So I would say it's kind of zombicide to some degree, where like you attack, and if you attack in the same square of something, you can't use ranged, or they'll get an attack of opportunity. If you move away from something, they'll take a swipe at you. So like it shares some of the combat mechanics with Zombicide, but like I said again, Zombicide also does it. So yeah, I think they could do something to make it a little bit more unique and stand out.
Well, Chakati and Emily have been hanging out with us quite a bit in this quarantine.
You met them on the last
Hmm.
podcast. If you listened to podcast number
3.
3, there were the yellow and the pink meeple.
And we've been doing a couple um, co-op games with them. We learned Pandemic, and we also played Castle Panic. Castle Panic is just a very basic
Tower defense.
tower defense game.
Mhm.
Jamie DeWitt from Fireside Games put that one out. But I have all the expansions with it, and I don't think I've had them for a long time, but I've never actually played with all the expansions. With the Wizard's Tower, there's just lots more powerful cards, and the latest expansion, Sieges of War, Engines of War, I think is what it's called. You actually can create catapults and trebuchets and destroy all the monsters, and all the monsters get a lot more powerful and harder to kill. So again, just a super simple tower defense game, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. The girls enjoyed Pandemic enough. They were like, "Hey, let's find a copy of Pandemic Legacy Season 1." Much to my dismay, I've never played Season 1. Alex did a long time ago, and so he's been kind of running the game for us four, but he's not really making a lot of decisions. And we're doing
Not very good.
okay.
Let's just say it's good that we're not in charge of this whole pandemic going on right now.
Yeah. They don't want us in
I was,
charge of this COVID
I
stuff.
was Game 4 of Pandemic Legacy. What are you guys doing? We're all just going to quarantine. I think at this point.
Yeah,
I think we're just gonna.
However, I did find online somewhere that someone put a scenario out for Pandemic with the COVID-19 scenario, and there's only one. You're only using the red cubes, and it starts in China with a very specific starting setup. And one of the main ways you can cure it is social distancing. And if you can get 5 cards of a color, you can make social distancing in a certain section, and now no more cubes can go in there or something like that. And I was able to download them. I forget which company put them out, but I read through them. I was like, those are funny.
That'd be interesting. A little off topic. 'Cause speaking of social distancing, I don't know if you saw this, but in New York and New Jersey, they're actually using drones to shout at people who are standing too close together in the streets.
Oh my.
There's a card for pandemic. Drone shouting.
Drone shouting.
A drone shout. So
you
have
know
you guys
that's
ever played those choose your own adventure games by any chance? Like I have one, it's called the House of Horror, but they're the ones that come in just like that box that's just cards, basically.
No, I haven't done the
I've
Choose Your Own
read the
Adventures.
books.
I've done some of the escape room games, but not the Choose Your Own Adventure specific one.
Okay, so I have the House of Horror one. Someone got it for me as a gift, and I was probably gonna actually play that with Leslie because that's something that's kind of like her speed. I think she'd enjoy. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I was just curious when you play it. But if anybody listening has played it, tell me what you think about it or any of the Choose Your Own Adventure games because I have one of them. I know they make other ones, so if that one goes over well, I might order the other ones and have something to do.
The topic for today, we're talking about how to make the games we love even better. I know all of us have games that we've upgraded the components to premium to a premium level to where we spend $80 on the game itself, and then we spend another $180 to make the game shine on the table.
Yeah.
I
So
hate that that's so true that I've done that. I
we
It is, and
well
I hate that you said that out loud because I was like, yeah, I'll spend another $80, same price. But there are games that I've spent more above the cost of the game.
Yeah, but you just love
Yeah.
the game so much that you're willing to go to that level. For me, for example, I have Champions of Midgard.
Hmm.
So Champions of Midgard to me was the first worker placement that I actually enjoyed and liked,
Hmm.
and so I thought it was so cool how the dice are the warriors and you go up and this and that. So I spent way more money upgrading that game than the cost of the actual game itself.
Hmm.
Because I bought the Kickstarter stuff. I didn't even know about the Kickstarter, so I had to buy them secondhand. And when you buy Kickstarter exclusive things secondhand, you always pay a premium.
Yeah, you pay just a little bit more for them.
Well, hopefully it's a little bit more, depending on who's selling.
So some of the things we're going to talk about today is just how you can upgrade a game, and we're going to give you some examples of games that we've done that too. First thing is like, where would these upgrades come from? And a
Well,
lot of them are third-party upgrades.
yeah.
There's some that the actual games put out, like you were talking about Kickstarter exclusives and things like that.
Stonemeyer Games does that a lot. They release their own upgrades to the
Mhm.
games. There's TMG that always has like their regular game, and then
A deluxe.
Deluxeified with a whole bunch of shiny bits, which I don't know why anybody wouldn't get the Deluxeified. One of my personal favorites is Etsy. Is that
Etsy.
Etsy. So if you're a board gamer and haven't been on Etsy, get on there. There's tons and tons of board game.
And all
tips.
you do is just type the name of the game and maybe upgrades or components, and it just comes up with like acrylic bits and clay bits and painted bits and
wood bits, every type of bit
Yeah.
you want.
I will say what's nice about Etsy too, what I like about it is, I mean, you could find a much bigger variety of things on there, and a lot of it is just these like small local businesses or just like small little like mom and pop kind of like side business shops that people
someone
run
that
like
bought
out
a
of their
laser
homes.
printer. Yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
there's things that sometimes he just brought to my mind that you don't even think about upgrading until you see it and go, huh, that would look nice in my game.
I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it like the sandwiches that we got that
the
you put in the
burger
penny for
tokens.
Arkham
So
Horror?
I
Yeah, the
don't
burger tokens.
I don't work for them, but I will gladly advertise the genius of those burger tokens.
So the company name is
Burger Tokens,
like hamburger?
like a hamburger,
Okay.
a burgertoken.com.
Oh wait, that's the one you got for
For Arkham Horror,
Horror,
the,
that's right,
the
that's
card game. So to upgrade them, Arkham Horror has those cheap little cardboard pieces. You stick your hand into the bag and you're pulling out the little cardboard pieces. There's no happiness to that. But this company came up with a beautiful solution. So it's called Burger Tokens because it's 2 buns of stickers. And they're little bubbles, like half bubbles, that you glue around a penny. So it's like it gives it the heft of real money,
Oh yeah.
but it's customizable. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So they can make these tokens for a lot of games, and you just grab a bunch of pennies. So it's not that expensive. You get a sheet of these stickers for $20 maybe.
Now the sticker's just a clear bubble, or is it actual game specific?
It's game specific.
Okay.
So it has like it's like a acrylic bubble underneath it. It has a picture of whatever token it is,
Mhm.
and you actually press it on a penny, You hold it for a little bit. It's very high quality glue, 3M glue, so it sticks together, and you have a little upgraded token, and they're cheap. Like I said, $20 a pop for a sheet of whatever games they're offering.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
I really want this company to start making these for more games. Like I can see lots of games that they can be making that they haven't, because I'm guessing it's a small mom and pop store. Sean,
Yeah.
what do you think? You play Arkham Horror with me. What do you think of those tokens?
Oh, I thought they were great. Like I was a little skeptical. Like it was funny when we first got them. He told me he goes, "Bring over a whole bunch of pennies," and I thought he was making a joke. I was like, "Oh, I'll bring over a bunch of pennies," and he's just like, "No, seriously." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "All right, whatever." So I I brought over a whole bunch of pennies, and I was just digging through some change, and then he takes these things out because I didn't think I fully wrapped my head around what you were talking about until I saw it, and I was like, "Oh!" And I will say too, like he said, like the picture of it is underneath that acrylic bubble. The artwork on it is also nicer. Like I think they took the image, but like the color is brighter, the lines are more crisp, and especially putting it under that acrylic, it really pops.
Yeah,
And like when
and
you put it in the bag, like the bag net, it feels chunky. You're like, yeah, it shakes and you hear like rattling inside. It's good. I like them.
So I'm on the website now because I was like, I'm curious. They have Keyforge and Marvel Champions, lots of just generic RPG tokens, some more Keyforge, Star Wars Legion, Warhammer, Arkham Horror, Star Wars Destiny, Kill Team, Ashes. So it looks like lots of like tabletop games, not
a lot
necessarily
of
board games, but
right, like card games,
Yeah,
uh,
card games. Yeah.
living card games and
living
stuff
card
like that.
games and like X-wing, the miniatures
Yeah,
games and things like that. They've upgraded a lot
but
of
it's
those.
such an
Yeah, and
like
I mean,
cheap.
I'm still going, and there's just lots of
And then
just
they have like
games.
generic ones that are just like for points
I
or for
saw
money.
points and money in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think that is a one. I want this company to succeed,
and
because
just
it's
so
just a genius idea.
one last time, burgertokens.com is the name of that website.
Yeah.
Tell them we
Yeah.
sent you. I don't know. I
Tell
don't know
them.
And
why.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get something out of it.
One
yeah.
that I really enjoy is Meeple Source. I backed a couple of their Kickstarters, and they just take the generic Meeple from a game, and they'll put a unique shape on it and put paint on the front of it. I have
You
them
have the
for.
Colt
I have the
Express,
Colt Express. I have Camel Up. I
Ab-
have a couple of the games with them in there. The
Above and
Colt Express
Below.
I was a little disappointed with just because they were too small to play with. I still like the original ones a little bit better. What was the one you said?
Didn't you have Above and Below from them?
No, Above and Below are the Kickstarter bits,
Oh, okay.
but they do, and they've upgraded. Like I know they do Dead of Winter, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of other games that they just have the bits for. A lot of the tiny epic games, anything with just a lot of meeples, they just take that and put a unique shape on it, put some paint on it, and just adds a little bit to the table presence. Meeple Source also does a lot of the upgrades for Stonemeyer. He sells them through there as well. Top Shelf Gamer, they do something similar to what Meeple Source does, and they create bundles. And when I bought Charterstone, no, Charterstone was from Meeple Source as well. When I bought your Champions of Midgard birthday present,
Yes.
it was just I bought the Champions of Midgard pack, and it came with some realistic looking resources, the heart tokens, and some other things that you needed to go
What I
with
also
that
like,
game
they send in a nice little package
with a
with a
handwritten note.
handwritten note. They are quality. They are a quality
Yeah, Top
company.
Shelf Gamer is nice.
Well, while we're all kind of talking about tokens, there's one. This one I see mostly for because I used to get a lot of stuff from this company, but it was mostly for like the war game stuff. Is Litgo Game Accessories. They do a lot of acrylic. I think that's their big pull is they do a lot of acrylic tokens. Like I've gotten Netrunner tokens from them. I've gotten War Machine tokens from them. I know they do Warhammer stuff. They do generic ones like fire tokens and like damage and stuff like that. But I think their big shtick is they do a lot of things in acrylic. So if that's something like it's a nice I guess little median. Like we're talking about like when you talk to like metal coins and these big really robust upgrades, kind of
Mhm.
that thing in the middle is getting the acrylics to the tokens that come with the game, where it's like that in between. And I think Lico is one of those companies that really specialize in that acrylic space.
Well, I'm a big fan of acrylics, especially depending on the theme of the games. So, for my underwater city, you saw these
Mm-hmm.
bits. It's from an Etsy company called Laserland. Again,
Lazer,
Laser.
Laser.
Yeah. Yeah, Laserland. This lady made all the underwater token pieces in acrylic, and since it's kind of like a futuristic game, I think it fits better than wooden pieces, for
Mm-hmm.
example. And the pieces are beautiful. And she upgraded the submarines and all the resources. The only thing I'm really missing is money. I haven't found a good money upgrade for that game,
Yeah.
but I'd like to recommend her if you want to upgrade your underwater city games because she shipped fast, the prices were good because acrylic's not that expensive. So this lady just bought a laser printer, and I'm assuming, and just kind of pumps these
Mm-hmm.
out. And she has all sorts of games, acrylic pieces for her games that just wonderful jobs. And you can upgrade lots of games for not that much money.
Another thing I found on Etsy, also like Meeple Realty, is wooden inserts. There are several games that I found on Etsy that I've put wooden inserts into the games. I know Lanterns, I have a generic, and I don't remember the brand name of it.
Clank.
Clank was another company like that. Have just these generic wooden
One
inserts.
of my favorite wooden inserts is Tower Rex.
That one's off Etsy as well.
They're off of Etsy. The problem is they ship them from the Ukraine, so it's going to take several weeks to get here. But their prices are great.
Like
and
your Blood Rage one was like $50 or something like that.
But it's so intricate. It's so beautiful. It's way prettier than the one from Broken Token that you have, because the one that you have from Broken Token, it's
efficient. It works.
Yeah.
Whatever the word right there is. But yours from Tower Rex is really pretty. When you put it on the table, it just looks really nice.
It has all those like carvings of like the Viking runes and stuff like that. So it's really nice. Also, I really like your Rising Sun from
Meeple Realty. I like the way they put the interlocking. When you get the armies out, there's an actual locking base that you can lock and pull up. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we get to all the inserts. So I have a list of things how we upgrade games. And we've already talked about some of them, and we're going to hit on some of those points again here in a little bit. But the first one I've written down is paint. If you buy a game with minis in it, putting paint on them, even if it's just a base coat of paint, even if it's not a good thing of paint, painting minis just make them look better. When Blood Rage came out, every army was this weird tan orange color, and you just had colored bases on them. And I did a very basic paint job on mine, where it's just I primed them all and then put a colored wash. So the red army, I just washed them red. The blue army, I washed blue. And now each army looks like that color. It's not a great paint job, but it makes it look better on the table.
Because the details pop a lot more. That paint gets into all the little crevices.
Yeah, the wash just jumps in there and pulls those details out.
I mean, we'll put up some more pictures on the Lone Star Meeple Facebook. So if you're wondering what he's talking about, and he did a very simple job. You just get some primer, spray it, and then you get the wash, pour it on top, hold it upside down for like 5 seconds, boom, you're done. And it looks way better.
I did something different with my Rising Sun game. We used colored primer. Alex and I, and also a couple of our friends all bought Rising Sun. And we went in together to get the colored primers and the colored washes. So now the yellow army got primed yellow and washed yellow. And when I compare them next to my Blood Rage, the Blood Rage is just a little more pale because it was primed white and then washed yellow. And then with the prime yellow, washed yellow, just makes it pop, looks really, really good. So if I were to go back and do my Blood Rage again, I would definitely prime them with a colored primer. But yeah, just a basic job.
And then even my Blood Rage or my Arcadia Quest that I'm painting, I'm honestly not the best painter in the world. But a little bit of paint goes a long way. And you don't need to be scared.
I'm too nitpicky to paint. I'm too nitpicky. Like I enjoy painting to some degree, but like I'm very detail oriented when I start to like paint things. So like I will go through and I will like make sure I do the eyes, and then I make sure I get the hair, and then make sure I do the detail and the highlights, and then I'll dry brush, and then I do like the bases, and I'll put grass, and then it's like I can't just do grass. I got to make it look like a little scenery. So then I'll put like a rock over here on this one, and then I'll put this one standing on a pillar, and before I know, I mean they look amazing when they're done, but it just takes so long, and I just don't have the time to do them the way that I want to. And like you said, like what you did looks amazing. It still looks great on the table doing that basic job. It still looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you did with the gods before they came out with the Kickstarter version
Yeah,
of the
when
Golden
when
Gods.
I did the Golden Gods before Blood Rage did.
Yeah, like I thought that was. I was actually just gonna do that to mine because I'm like that actually looks really cool.
And what I did is I just primed them white and then just put a gold paint on them, a gold metallic paint, and that way they looked like little gold statues. And this was the original Gods of Blood Rage, so they're just the same size. When the Kickstarters just came out, they're about 4 or 5 inches tall. They tower over everyone, but they painted them gold from the factory now.
Yeah, but
And like I
anyway, yeah,
said,
all of you guys out there in podcast land, share some pictures of your paint jobs because I'd be curious to see, what everybody does when they're kind of upgrading their minis and painting and just how detailed and how crazy you can get with it.
Some of the other games that I started with Flashpoint. It's just the little fireman guys. They're a little chunky, not very many details. But there was a local game store that hosted a painting class. It's like, pay us $10, you can use all our paints and paintbrushes, and we'll help you out. And I was able to, flew through a bunch of those, and I was like, this is fun. So I bought some cheap paints. Then I came home, I did Mice and Mystics. They don't look good. They're painted, so they look better than what they did, but I was using real cheap, just Hobby Lobby paints.
but I think that's the point. Even if they're not the best,
Oh yeah,
painted always looks better than non-painted,
mm-hmm.
regardless of how bad of a job you did.
Yeah, I'm halfway through.
I don't know. I've let my 6-year-old paint a couple of minis that I don't use, and to be fair, I'm pretty confident. I just
Okay,
rather play
there
with
is
it
a
unpainted.
line. There's a line where it becomes better. Wasteland Express has a bunch of little trucks that I'm working on painting. I've gotten most of them done. Adrenaline, I think I've painted 3 or 4 of those figures out of 5. Some of the
Did
Tiny
you paint
Epic.
those? I haven't played that one in a while.
I think I painted 3 or 4 of them. I've primed them all. I just haven't painted them. Some of the Tiny Epic games, the ones that like Quest and the zombies that came with the item meeples, I painted all the items on them. So like as the green meeple comes out with his sword and shield, his sword is painted with the green highlights, and his shield is a silver shield with green highlights on it.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah, it's yeah. When I paint though, I just like I did my army for Blood Rage. I did some of the monsters. Like where I first started really hitting the paint was I used to play War Machine and Hordes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when like I really started like kind of like painting, and like the people I used to play with were like hardcore into painting. Like they would like shun you if you were trying to play with an army that wasn't painted. But they would show me like a lot of really cool techniques, and it would kind of help you out when. So that's kind of where I initially learned. But yeah, painting your minis, that's very time consuming. But I agree, it definitely makes the game pop and look a lot better.
All right. Well, the next one I have is inserts, and we've kind of talked about those already. The wood inserts from companies like Meeple Realty, which is local in Austin. Broken Token, Game Trays. Game Trays not a wooden one; it's plastic. Zen Bins, and we have some of those in a lot of our games. I started listing games. I have Rising Sun and Blood Rage and Sagrada and Roll for the Galaxy and Castles of Burgundy and Castles of Madkin Ludwig and Dead of Winter, all with a bot one. And then we have a 3D printer and using
The 3D printer is amazing for making using Thingiverse. You can
Thingiverse
just
stuff.
download the plans, set your printer to print, and you have a amazing 3D printer printed insert for your game. And what I really like about it is because a lot of people, these are like designed by people.
Mhm.
So someone will, for example, get the game Clash of Rage all in. It comes in like 12 boxes, wants to fit it all in one box. So he actually sits there and engineers how to do it. So you have this person that made the insert to fit all the things the way I would also like it to be
Yeah.
fit.
And that's one of the things I really like. Like Castles of Medkin Ludwig is one of those ones that came in like 40,000 baggies, and being able to just put something on the table and it's here. It is, setup's done. Same with Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah, I have a
But
general rule when it comes to inserts. It has to also be functional. It has to make setup and put away
faster.
faster. Because there's some of
Yeah,
these games where I see inserts for that honestly doesn't need an insert.
yeah. There's one. I think the really nice one I have. I think one of the nice one I have is the one for that I got for Terra Mystica. It's like I doubt it's actual cherry wood, but it's stained and everything to look like cherry wood, and it's like that. It's functional where like everything is in like its own little trays and its own little bins. So all I have to do is, oh, you want that faction? Okay, well you get the blue stuff, and I just take the little bin out. I hand you the bin. We're done. I just take the tray out. The tray has all the other tokens for like the sanctuaries and stuff, like all those favorite tokens. Those are all in a tray. I just take the tray out. I can't remember which company puts it out. It was one that I never heard of, but it
It
was
sounds
being
like one called
promoted.
Daedalus. Daedalus always stained theirs, and they're actually out of business now. So they did the wood inserts similar to Meeple Realty and Broken Token, and theirs was always just a higher class. It was
Yeah,
always stained and looks really, really nice. But unfortunately, about
it might
2
have
years ago
been.
or so, they went out of business.
Oh, that stinks. Yeah, it might have been. I know it was Rodney Smith from Watch It Played that's actually how I found out about it. He was doing a YouTube video and just was showing that insert, so he was kind of promoting them, and
Yeah, that
I
sounds
actually
like
wound up getting it.
it was probably Daedalus Productions. Another simple thing to do is just get a Plano box. Like go to the fishing tackle aisle and get a Plano box. I don't even know how many games in my shelf that have a
Well,
Plano box in them.
Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven, absolutely.
Gloomhaven, we just have 4 Plano boxes for it where everything is divided and
And that
marked.
was like a $30 insert for
And it's
Gloomhaven.
set up and put away so much easier. We probably wouldn't have played as much Gloomhaven if it wasn't for that
Yeah.
insert.
Yeah, what's funny is I actually did the same thing for my Resident Evil 2 game. Like I saw what you had for Gloomhaven, I'm like, that's a great idea. So I literally did the same exact thing for my Resident Evil 2 board game.
My Zombicide and my Ninja Turtle games, I bought actual really big tackle boxes for them. And so I just can pick up this one thing and it has all the expansions because like Zombicide was 2 base games plus 2 Kickstarter extras and a whole bunch of just little expansions. And it's just got ridiculous because you can't just throw them all in a box. And Metal Money.
That's one of my favorites.
Metal coins.
It's so
the
ridiculous.
best.
It just raises the class of any game to have little clink, clink, clinks.
I was at a board game store. I showed up for game night a little early, and there was a friend there. He got some off Etsy, just generic money. He was like 1s, 5s, 10s, but they packaged them individually. So he was sitting there opening them. So I sat there opening them with him, talking to him. I was like, "Oh, I know where you can get 100 of these for $1." And he got all excited. I'm like, "Where?" I'm like, "The bank," and he got mad at me. But
You're such a jerk.
But yeah, Metal Money is
but to be
always
fair,
a classy upgrade.
There's ones that because I was looking at this one and it's the one that you got. I forget what game you're using it for, but the pirate doubloons. It was a Clank. I think it's using it for Clank, aren't you?
Your Clank game.
Yes, my Clank. So Clank doesn't have metal coins sanctioned by anyone. So I just went on
Etsy probably.
No, Amazon.
No,
They
it's
sell
Amazon.
these
Amazon.
pirate doubloons, like 100 of them for $8 or something
Just
like
a
that.
generic, not
It's just
quite
a generic,
round.
yeah,
but
kind of, yeah, and just throw
hear
them in
the
there.
chink chink as it's hitting the
Yeah,
table.
and
It's
even
nice.
that still makes it that much better. But did you guys saw the Kickstarter? I mean, they're on like their 6th season or something like that now. The legendary metal coins one where they have like
I always look at it. Always
I
look
always
at it.
look, but
I always look and I always save it to favorites and then I never back it because I'm like, oh, because I know I'm gonna get like 5 sets. And
I
I'm
will
like,
say-
oh, I don't want to spend $300 on coins.
I've bought Seafall twice. Haven't played it yet, but I bought it twice because they came with the metal coins that only came with the pre-orders. So once people bought it with the pre-orders because they're really excited and they realized Seafall was not a good game, they're selling it. So one of my copies of my Seafall coins is in our Gloomhaven game, and the other's in our Risk Legacy game. So we've temporarily upgraded a Legacy game with metal coins, and we'll just take them out when the Legacy game's over.
yeah. So anybody hearing this has Seafall coins. I'll gladly take them off your hands for $10.
Is that where those came from?
Yep.
Those are
I had no. I thought you just bought those like oh, let's just go get a set of metal coins. I had no idea those actually came from.
It was from the
Seafall.
Seafall pre-order. Some of my favorite coins are from Sorcerer City, which is a Kickstarter that just came out probably 6 months ago, right before Christmas, and they stack really well, but they also they're different sizes. So as they get smaller, it can make like a little pyramid. They lock in place, and they have little triangle corners on the. It's like a circle with a triangle over it. So the triangle stays the same size, but the circle gets smaller as it stacks. So it just makes a real cool look as you're stacking your coins.
Yeah, I saw those. I almost backed that too. I kind of want that just for the coins because those coins are pretty awesome.
You can.
But yeah, I
I
was.
think they do sell the coins separately now, though.
Yeah, they just started
Ooh.
selling the coins. It's like $20 for a pack of coins. So you can
Hmm.
go to their web. I think it's their own website and buy them.
Mhm.
Yeah, the metal coins. I always and usually a lot of times when especially if it's a Kickstarter, like when it comes time for like Pledge Manager, I'll actually order like an extra bag usually. Of if it's an option, if they say
Always
like, hey,
nice
for
though.
20 extra bucks,
Always
yeah,
buy
give
the
us
extra dice
we'll give
pack.
Yeah, always buy the extra
yeah why
dice pack or upgraded resources. I mean, there's games like Charterstone where you get the little pumpkins and the little bricks and all these little upgraded bits and pieces that are just so much fun to have and way better than cubes.
Mhm.
I think we
Well,
should.
the game came with Meeple little wooden. So they weren't cubes. It was a pumpkin shape made of wood. But we did upgrade that one to like an actual resin pumpkin and
Yeah, there's the resin pieces. Scythe
steel, and
Scythe does the same
yeah, it's
thing.
the same company. So yeah, it's a lot
Same
of the
same
same
thing for
stuff from Scythe.
Scythe. Um, Potion Explosion, you can upgrade your marbles.
I got new marbles for Potion Explosion that have little swirlies and they
You
look
just have
really
to make
cool.
sure that the colors are good because if you get a red and black and a black and red, they're kind of
Okay,
confusing.
okay, I admit. On the website, they looked really different. Unfortunately, my blacks have a little tinge of yellow, and my yellows have a tinge of black, and they're not all perfect. So some of the blacks have a little more yellow on them than others. So some of the dice marbles are hard to tell apart. But I did upgrade the marbles on Potion Explosion. It looks really
One
nice.
of my favorite upgrades is they sell a keychain that's Thor's hammer from Avengers,
Uh huh.
Mjolnir, and I got that and use it as my first player marker for Champions of Midgard or Blood Rage. So then it's like a solid metal hammer. It feels so good in your hand. Um,
Talked about Meeple Realty upgrading the Camel Up and the Cold Express Meeples. Favor of the Pharaoh. I got we talked about the dice pack. Always buy the extra
Same
dice
thing.
pack.
Same thing I have for Arcadia Quest and Starcadia Quest.
Mhm.
Every player has their own set of dice, so you don't have to share because sharing dice is wrong.
As you were talking
yeah
about your burger up. Oh, go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
I'm so mad I didn't get those extra dice for Favorite Pharaoh. You have no idea. Like I didn't realize that was a thing until I played your copy, and I was like, this is so much easier to play when I play with your copy.
You
Like
don't have to
I
share
my
dice.
yeah, it's so aggravating because that game is so obviously the whole game is dice. So like having to constantly like switch them around gets really obnoxious really fast.
As you were talking about the burger up tokens, the burger tokens, not burger up. I was thinking about my Quacks of Quinlanburg. I know Board Game Geek sells their Geek Bit tokens, and we don't actually own any of those. We haven't got any of those yet. But I saw that someone just put little coin capsules on them, and they take it's a nickel sized coin capsule, and they push the cardboard bit into it, and it's like he was talking about. You reach into a bag to draw the bits out for Quacks of Quinlanburg, and reaching in and grabbing the cardboard's fine and it works. It's takes care of what it needs to do. But when you reach in and there's just a bunch of plastic in there, you can jingle around and you just hear it shuffling and as you reach in the bag. Makes it just a little more satisfying to pull those a little bit bigger bits out.
Yeah, one of these days, I promise, I'm gonna just be so baller that like when I get like gem upgrades, I'm straight up. I'm gonna play with like actual rubies and actual emeralds and diamonds. That'll be the day. That'll be a hell of a board game upgrade.
All right, we'll wait. We'll
All
we'll
right,
wait anxiously for that day.
let us know when that happens.
Yeah.
So yesterday I posted on Facebook and about our playmats. I would counted our playmats and cleaned up in here a little bit. We have like 27 or 28 different playmats.
Playmats are awesome when
Some
they're
of them are just
functional.
generic, like CCG ones that my computer's sitting on right now. But then we have some, like we have 2 copies of the Blood Rage mat, 2 copies of the Rising Sun mat. I have a custom made one for Dinosaur Island.
We also have on my table that giant 4x4
Just the
one
mat.
it's just a giant playmat. So playmats are great. I like it when it's kind of like the Champions of Midgard one where we released a bunch of expansions. Here's a playmat with all the expansions already added together.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's worth it, in
Yeah,
my
but my
opinion.
only issue with something like that is like it's convenient to some degree, but like folklore. I have a playmat for folklore. The thing is, or even Western Legends. There you go, even better example. Like they have a playmat. They came with the expansion. They have a playmat that has all the stuff on it, but they're so huge. Like storing those things are a nightmare, especially when you have like ones like that where they come out with expansions that had all these extra boards. So they just compile, they put it all in one playmat. But now you have these, 7 or 8 playmats that are 6 feet long. You can't fit them in the box, and and then they're just very hard to store, and then you have to carry them around, and it
I will
almost like
agree
starts to
that's
become more of a headache.
that's one of the bad things about it. Playmats don't fit in the box, and you do have to carry them. But playing on a playmat is
So much nicer.
so much nicer than on just a regular table.
Um, all right, the next thing on our list is deluxe versions of games. So it's not really buying upgrades to the game, but you're buying an upgraded game. Some of the ones that we talked about before, just the TMG deluxeified games, like I have Coliseum, I think
Downfall,
Crusaders.
Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. Those games, yeah, you go to Kickstarter, $20 more, you get the deluxeified version.
And they come with big coins. They come with custom meeples.
Yeah, just a better version of the same game.
Yeah, I think with these deluxe games, though, really all it does is it just basically just already comes built in with a lot of those things that we've been talking about, like just the upgraded resources, the acrylic tokens, the things like that. But they do it like as a bundle, so this way you don't have to go out and get it separately. You'll kind of usually get some kind of cost savings by just kind of getting the deluxeified version. Comes with all the upgraded bits. You don't have to go out and get them separately.
Yeah, I bought the deluxe upgrades for Dice Hospital. So the base game comes with 5 cards that are called ambulance cards that has spot for 3 dice. But the deluxe version comes with just a big chunky ambulance that the dice fit on the top of, and it just makes it really, really. It's just strictly table
More
presence.
immersive.
Yeah, it just throws the theme out there because the dice are the patients, so they actually go on the ambulance to get brought to the hospital. Talked about Sorcerer City coins. I bought the deluxe version because I wanted the metal coins, and it came with a couple extra bits in the game, but mainly it was just for the extra coin.
Well, another thing that I would say that, and Kickstarter gets a lot of this too. I would say CMON specifically is when they come with promos, like specific promos.
Yeah, the Kickstarter exclusives, the promos that only come in that game. One of my favorite promos I've ever done was with a chip theory game called Too Many Bones. And then at the back of the rule book, there was just a weird line at the end of a weird poem. And it looked almost like a website. So I typed in that as a website, and it led me to this riddle. And it was like a 12-step riddle that used the pieces of the game or maybe some outside knowledge to actually solve the riddle. And it talks about maybe I got this sword from a guy, and then you look at one of the cards is a sword from a guy, and there's like
the game gave you a side quest.
Yeah, it did, and then, like on the sword, there's
cool.
On the art of the sword, there's an inscription, and then so that's the answer to the puzzle that you type into the website, and it leads you to the next question. And then when I got the expansion, the Undertow, I immediately went on BG's like, all right, where's the riddle for this one? And they tell me where to start it, and I started that riddle, and I've got the promos for those. So it was free. They just send them straight in the mail. It was a couple extra cards and another bad guy.
There was a Kickstarter that I backed recently called Dwellings of Everdell that did the same thing while the Kickstarter was going on.
Oh, yeah?
So they gave you go to this webpage, and every week they would unlock a new riddle, and the riddle spelled out the name of a mini that if you typed in the name of the mini as a promo on their pledge manager, you got the mini for free.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, those things like that are really cool. But for most of the time, promos for me are just too expensive. You pay $15 for one extra card for the game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that. There's a couple that I've bought. A lot of them I got when we go to conventions, and they'll hand them to us for free, or maybe like in a bundle with a bunch of them. Backing the Dice Tower Kickstarter, maybe another someone else's Kickstarter to give you a bunch of promos. One of my favorite ones is Mysterium. They had a promo that was one of the weapons. It's a wooden meeple. So I found that, I was like, okay, I need to find that one. So I ended up paying, I think $5 or $7 for just a little wooden meeple card. But I was like, that's cool though.
Yeah, and promos are pretty much advertisements, so they should be free. We're advertising this game. Here's a free card for this game that you don't own, that we hope because you own this card, you'll go buy.
Yeah.
I just don't. I
can't like say that I've ever actually bought a promo.
$15 or $20 from. I don't think I've ever really bought one because of that. Yeah. But I do have some promos that Again, we've gotten free at conventions and stuff like that.
But like the CMON, like we talked about, the Kickstarter exclusives, like when you could only buy them on Kickstarter, you're about to fill out the pledge manager for Marvel United. And you're like, okay, I'm getting these because they're the Kickstarter exclusives, but if I can get it later in the store, I'm not going to worry about it right now. And things like that sometimes is worth it if it only able to get it from Kickstarter or conventions.
I think some people take that to too much of it. I think Simon takes it too much to an extreme though, where like 45% of the game is Kickstarter exclusive content. It's like I get, hey, listen, you're helping to fund the game. Hey, we're going to give you some extra stuff that's only going to be available to you. But when you look at the campaign and like every other thing just says Kickstarter exclusive, Kickstarter exclusive, Kickstarter exclusive, like, geez, really? So it's almost like, all right, well, I have to get in a Kickstarter, or it's not even worth buying in retail.
Well, I'm okay with that as long as they are Kickstarter exclusives. But the moment they start selling them, it's kind of like, well, what's what I mean?
What's next on our list? Big boxes. There's a couple games that I know we have on our shelves that are just a big box. They have all the expansions inside it. Raiders of the North Sea came out with a big box to fit all the expansions in.
Champions of Midgard did the same thing. I know, even though I'm not a fan of the game, Cards Against Humanity does that too.
They do that.
And I always appreciate that a lot, because if you're making an expansion, make the base and the expansion fit together. And please, I'm ready to go on a rant here about the Calyx standard. So I want all board gamers to start supporting the Calyx standard. Every game should fit in your standard Calyx square.
It really should.
And even game makers can say, like, this is one Calyx worth of game. This is half a Calyx worth of game.
This is a quarter Calyx.
This is a quarter Calyx. Come on, let's standardize. I hate these like giant boxes, and you open them, and there's a deck of cards and 4 meeples in it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even fit in your shelf because it's a weird shaped box.
There's several just on the top of our shelves. One of the biggest ones is Too Many Bones. It's just too wide for it. But Chip Theory has listened before we even said it, because they knew we were going to say it. And they're coming out with a crate for Too Many Bones. And it's one they're producing in their store. Should come out in a couple months. And it's supposed to hold all the Gearlocks, which are the player cards, all the bad guys, and all the expansions for the game. And it fits inside one Calyx.
There we go.
Yeah, my copy of Court of the Dead is the same thing. It drives me crazy. Like, the box is too big. Yeah. It doesn't fit in it. Like, I even tried to, like, what if it goes at an angle? It just doesn't fit. So it's one of the only games that I have just off to the side because it doesn't fit.
And there's a couple.
It drives me crazy.
Older games we have that have the coffin boxes that I've taken like a slat out of the Calyx. So there's actually one that's 2 squares wide, and it's holding like my old copy of Risk and Rune Wars and my old copy of Scotland Yard, because it's just a little too wide. But it's also holding like Conan, and because those games fit one way, but they stick out, so they have to fit long ways, and it's just
they can make them taller.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's ways to engineer a way to fix that.
But I do, as much as that sucks, I do like one box that holds everything.
That's the best.
If I get one box to hold the entire game, my anniversary edition of Galaxy Trucker holds all the expansions in there as well.
Well, I know so this is a question I have now. Stonemaier Games released one big box to hold all of Scythe, but they sell just the box by itself for like $30.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to pay $30 for?
And I remember there was a whole big thing. He's like, "I'm not doing that. I'm not selling an empty box. No one's going to buy an empty box." And everybody's like, "We'll buy the empty box. We'll buy the empty box." And he's like, "Fine, this is on you." And he started selling empty boxes, and people are buying it because it holds the base game and like the 3 or 4 expansions that come with it.
Because people don't want to carry boxes. Let's take a stand here, gamers. We don't want to carry lots of boxes. One box, one game.
One Calyx.
One Calyx.
So now that we've kind of gone over a lot of this stuff, what would you say you guys' like most upgraded game is?
That has spent the most money on, or has the most unique bits?
Either.
I would say one of each. Which one has the most like different bits? Like, I got new resources, I got metal coins, I got this, I got that. And which one did you drop a lot of money on?
For me, it's probably Colt Express. It has all the expansions. I have the playmat for it. I have the extra meeples for it.
Oh, yeah.
I have the wood.
How'd you get that playmat again?
It was a first prize for a tournament that I was in. It
Oh, so
has
you
Oh,
won
it
okay.
has
first.
the
So,
wooden bits
wait,
for
wait,
it.
wait. So you
It
won
has like
first
wooden
time, first place
briefcases,
in a
and
tournament?
it has all the cool stuff
Or
in
is it
it.
that you know somebody who won first place in
I'm
a tournament?
okay. Yeah.
I would say my Champions of Midgard. Every piece in that is upgraded, but I know I got some for like birthday presents and things like that.
Hmm.
So I can't say I upgraded the whole game. Also, my underwater cities. I really enjoy that game,
Yeah.
and I've bought every. I've got submarines, acrylic submarines. All the resources are acrylic pieces. I bought the expansion with the better
Yeah.
boards. Um, so I have dropped quite a bit of coin on that game.
Yeah, I think mine honestly. I don't have that many upgrade. I mean, mostly I always go for metal coins. So like if there's Kickstarter ones, I'll just get that stuff. But I think Blood Rage might be my most upgraded one between like the playmat, like the special pieces that we get, like the promo pack stuff, and all the upgraded gods. And I think that's my most upgraded one at this point. Probably the most money too.
Yeah, so you really like the
Uh,
upgrading the coins. That's what you're saying.
I always upgrade the coins.
But
Oh,
yeah, not in all of them. In most cases, I'll get the metal coins.
A little over what we wanted to spend our time on, but we have a couple extra questions. What are some games that don't need upgrading? They just come straight from the box, straight from the factory. I'm going to say Too Many Bones. We already talked about it once. It comes with really chunky bits. All the cards are made of
I have
plastic.
well,
All the
I have
player
two.
aids are plastic. Again, the box, even though it's a little too big, is a hefty box. And just the dice are really, really nice. But Too Many Bones is one of those that comes straight from the factory to your door, all the way done.
So I would say Mechs versus Minions.
Oh,
For
absolutely.
$80, you get your money's worth there. I mean, that is a game that is way underpriced. Uh, the trays are amazing. The minis come in different molds. And what I really enjoy is that the minis, the little minions,
Hmm.
they're like four different molds, but you can put them in any slot because the slot accommodates to every single
So you're
different
talking about the
types.
insert on that one.
Yeah, the insert
So
on that
as you're
one.
putting the game away, every minion will fit in every single hole, even though there's four different,
Molds for them,
four
shapes for
different
them.
shapes.
It comes with metal pieces,
Oh yeah,
pre-painted figures. I mean, if you like co-ops, pre-programming, this game could not go wrong. Another one, just looking at my shelf, that I'm always impressed by the quality of the games. It's Griffin Games on
Eagle
Mars,
Griffin,
Eagle Griffin Games.
hmm
Sorry, on Mars, Escape Plan. Those are
Lisboa.
such pretty games. I mean, they are quality games. The little wooden pieces, the artwork in them, everything in that game is so beautiful. The insert works really well. The box art, the box is like thick cardboard.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate their quality.
Yeah, I'm not going to really talk Simon about this one because even though I can't buy that one now. Mechs versus Minions, Too Many Bones, we can still buy now. We can go out and buy that one. But a lot of the Simon games, because they're Kickstarter exclusive, I don't think fit into this category.
No, you'd have to spend way too much money.
Sean, can you think of any games that just come straight from the store that are just
Not real. I mean, just really those two. I mean, I haven't really come across one that like out of box is just like this already completely. Unless you have like a complete deluxeified version, like that goes to retail, but that doesn't come up too much because the price point becomes a lot higher, and then it
Mhm.
just becomes it sits on the shelf in the store for a lot longer. So. Yeah, I think Mechs versus Minions is probably the best example. Like Alex said, the quality of that game at the price point you get it is crazy. And I don't know how they pulled off getting every minion to fit in every slot, but that was absolute genius. Because one of the things that drives me completely crazy,
just
especially
putting stuff
when we
away?
play like when we play Zombicide, trying to fit all the because it's just the clear plastic mold, so you can't figure. It takes forever to put that stuff away.
That's why I put mine in the tackle box. Now all the runners go here. I don't care if it's Model A or Model B or Model C. All the runners go here. All the walkers go here, and they just get chunked in.
Yeah, I did that with my Resident Evil game. It just made it a lot easier because there was no way I was messing with those inserts. That just wasn't going to happen.
All right, we're sitting about a little over an hour, so y'all ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess real quick before we go.
Before we go, I did look up the Kickstarter we were talking about at the beginning about the social distancing, and it's called Vorpal Board, VORPAL board, and it looks like it comes with the app, It comes with a tripod long arm, and it comes with a little scanner box. They're supposed to ship in September of 2020, so you might be able to jump on a late back on that one. It starts off at $75, comes with a little bit, but a $225 for the Kickstarter exclusive lifetime game host things. So look that up if what we're talking about at the beginning sounds interesting to you. Again, that's a Vorpal board, VORPAL board.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Lone Star Meeple podcast. Come on back next time where we talk about board games, the people that play them, and the things that make our hobby great.
Go ahead and email us if anything we sounds interesting to you, or you can want to give us a topic to talk about at thelonestarmeeple@gmail.com. Also, we post a lot of stuff on our Instagrams at the Lone Star Meeple. I've put a couple. I'm going to be putting up a couple little trivia games. I threw a dice one up the other day. I'm starting to pull some meeples out to try to see if you can guess what games the meeples come from. Also, minis. I'm pulling meeples and minis out, so see if you can guess the game for those.
All right, and also make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Lone Star Meeple. Put lots of pictures up there of what we're playing. You can comment, complain, or start a fight with me. And you can also hit us up on Facebook, where we also post what we're doing, projects we're working on. I'm currently working on developing bad games.
You want to develop a bad game?
No.
That's easy.
I'm working on getting bad games and adding to them to make them better. So if you bought Rail Raiders Infinite, I have added a deck builder component to it that you can print and play and add it to the game. It actually makes it just a little bit more fun.
Cool. And remember, just share us with your friends, share our Facebook posts, share our podcasts. Definitely give us your feedback. We're always looking to improve, talk about the things that you want to hear. And music for this wonderful podcast was provided by Hugo Delgado.
All right. Good night, guys.
You all have a good one.
Later.
We really need to come up with something that we just say at the end to finish this.
I said up. Same Meeple time, same Meeple time.
Yeah, well, you're still recording, by the way.
Yeah.